The Daily Code Snippet. Now that we understand the different ways to bring in fonts to your website, we now need to review how to adjust those fonts. There are several properties that affect the typography for web. These properties can be divided into two main categories: font styles and text layout styles. Font styles are those properties that affect the font itself, such as the selection of the font, i.e. font family, size, weight, style, example, italic, and color. Text layout styles are properties that affect the spacing, either between characters, words, and letters, and text alignment. The first property we will review is font size. In previous videos, we reviewed different ways that you can express units of length and size. Font size can take values measured in pixels, ems, rems, and percentages. Pixels is the number of pixels high the text should be. It is an absolute unit. When using ems, 1 em is equal to the font size set on the parent element of the current element that you are styling. Ems are named because they were equivalent to the width of the capital letter M. For example, if the parent element is set to a font size of 16 pixels, then the child element, having a font size equal to 0.75 em, means that the font size is 12 pixels. 0.75 times 16 equals 12. This method can get complicated if you have many elements nested in one another, so it becomes difficult to keep track of the parent element. Using rems is similar to using ems, except that 1 rem is equal to the font size set on the root element of the document rather than the parent element. This method is simpler because it becomes easier to work out the different relative font sizes. So if the font size on the root element, HTML, is 16 pixels, and then any element set to 0.75 rem will display as 12 pixels. Rem is not supported by Internet Explorer, IE8, or older. When using percentages, if your parent element is set to 16 pixels and the child element is set to 75%, then the result is the font displayed at 12 pixels. You may want a heading to be at 150% or 24 pixels. If not specified, understand that the font size of an element is inherited from the parent element starting from the root element. The standard font size is set to 16 pixels across browsers. However, sometimes it is easier to set the root element, HTML, to 10 pixels so that the math is easier to compute. So if the HTML has a font size of 10 pixels, an H1 with a font size of 3 rem is 30 pixels, and paragraph text with a font size of 1.6 rem is 16 pixels. Line height is used to set the height of each line of text. To understand line height, let's review this illustration of typeface terminology. The baseline is where the letters sit. The cap height is the distance between the baseline to the top of flat capitalized letters. Ascenders are letters that extend above the cap height, while descenders extend below the baseline. When you have two lines of text, the leading is the distance between the descender of the line above to the ascender of the line below. The term leading came from when typography was set with metal type. Strips of lead were placed between the lines of metal type. The greater the leading, the more spacing between lines of type. The line height is the closest to the concept of leading with web typography. The font size is the distance between the ascender and the descender. The line height is the distance between the descender and the descender of the line of type above. The difference between the font size and the line height is the leading. So by adjusting the line height, we adjust the spacing between lines of text. Just like font size, it can take many length and size units. However, it can also take a unitless value that will act as a multiplier and is often the best option. By using a unitless value, the font size is multiplied to result in the line height. The purpose of setting the line height is to space apart the lines of text to make them easier to read. A typical value is 1.3 to 2, the equivalent to double spacing. Presented by Designers Learn Code.